appears that Marvel and Disney just can't get their feet out of the massive pile of crap that they've stepped in, and it just continues to happen because we've got news now that Beau DeMayo, the creator, showrunner of X-Men 97's first season, is now lawyering up and coming at them, but in a very unusual way from a very unusual platform. So we've got to talk about it because today's one of those drama days. Also, George R.R. Martin continues to run his mouth because that's pretty much all he does anymore. And I have some news about Twilight. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff because it helps our channel a ton. And as usual, make sure to visit criticalist.com. You can find us in the Android and Apple app stores as well. Come in, drop a review, and get in on whatever the latest hot gossip is involving entertainment, because right now on Criticalist, the hot gossip is Into the Blue, the 2005 classic, which is having a bit of a resurgence on our platform as 100% reviews drop over and over again, because there's something awry here, and you'll have to dig out and find for yourself, but I find this to be a little suspect, to say the least. But I mean, hey, Jessica Alba in a bikini and Paul Walker, buffing it up. I mean, why not? So on to the hot gossip. Beau DeMayo. So this dude it's been a lot of drama surrounding this guy from start to finish, and it seems like it's just never ending. And basically our guy is lawyering up. He's coming after Disney, he's coming after Marvel, guns a-blazing. And I mean, why not at this point? So what he says is, this article is titled, "I have the receipts. Beau DeMayo decries Marvel's criminal working conditions, goes to court to overturn illegal Disney NDA." Now, the interesting thing surrounding this NDA thing, it definitely needs to be dug into, and I'm curious to see what shakes out with this drama. But basically what's happening here is that he's claiming that these allegations of egregious misconduct are false, says former X-Men 97 showrunner Beau DeMayo today about the dark cloud of gossip over his sudden pink slipping by Marvel and Disney. Now, if you did not know, basically, Beau DeMayo was in charge of X-Men 97, and he wrote this thing, and it turned out to be quite good. Everybody was expecting it to be complete and total trash, and then it's been pretty much unanimously loved, and this is a very loved television show from the 90s, and so it coming back in the current state of Marvel at the time it was very suspect as to if this was going to be any good, and then it turned out to be good. Right when they were about to release the show, they had actually fired, or at least released, Beau DeMayo of his contract and gotten rid of him. So it says here, flipping the script, the season scribe called out Marvel over its alleged toxic environment and near criminal working conditions that turns individuals against one another, stokes paranoia to ensure compliance. These are some pretty big allegations from this dude, and what's more interesting is we were all trying to find out what happened to this guy, because Disney kept it very under wraps, and he wasn't saying a lot at the time, and now he's talking out a lot more. And so what it's saying is, months after DeMayo's exit in March, Marvel Disney exclaimed in August that he was fired because of the egregious nature of the findings in a misconduct probe. Last month, DeMayo said that he was let go in part because of some LGBTQ fan art he reposted, implying strongly such rigidness is emblematic of the company's inside stance. Now, I find this interesting for the fact that what the pillar in which Marvel and just Disney in general has been standing on lately, which is just hyper pro LGBT stuff. And now, granted, they have been pulling back from a little bit of this, at least on the Marvel side, but this just is interesting as far as the allegations go. So, and then what it says is, rumors at Disney have swirled around photos supposedly sent to X-Men 97 colleagues and accusations of getting too touchy with people on X-Men 97. So it sounds like there was a little bit more going on inside, but what Beau is claiming here is that it's all just BS, that Marvel has just drummed all this up. And so This has gone to Superior Court from the sounds of it, and it says that there is an illegal NDA that was put on DeMayo, and even it sounds like other folks as well. But DeMayo, so this is the news. This is what I wanted to talk about right here. This allegation that they really don't seem to call a whole lot of attention to in this article, and what I found the most ridiculous part, which is that Beau DeMayo is using OnlyFans. Yes, I repeat, OnlyFans. If you don't know what OnlyFans is, it's where people go and flash their naughty bits on the internet for people to watch and pay them for. So he took to OnlyFans to make these allegations against Kevin Feige, Marvel, and Disney. And this is where he has gone on his big rant. Now, that was also surrounding some of the allegations early on was that it was a little suspect that this dude had an OnlyFans while he was working in this caliber for a company like Disney, which seems suspect. We'll just put it that way. It doesn't seem like a smart move to have an OnlyFans while you're working for a company like Disney, because Disney does let a lot of stuff slide, but this one was a little interesting. So what it says is, his claims here: the rumors being spread around me online are lies, and they are offensive. But more concerning is that they're a smear campaign designed to discredit my credibility in order to cover up the egregious misconduct stretching from select crew members on X-Men97 all the way to the top at Marvel Studios. DeMayo declared on his nearly 30-minute remarks on camera on the often explicit subscription social platform. That's really the only slight that they put on OnlyFans in this article here. But basically, he's claiming that other people are lying due to all of this, and that Marvel is applying pressure to them to make them want to do this. But all of this sounds a little odd, and bro, like, let's say that all this is true, and I'm not necessarily one to want to stand behind current Marvel at this point, but like, why are you gonna go on OnlyFans to throw shade on Marvel? I mean, really, for a 30-minute rant, that's where you're gonna go? You couldn't go on like X. You have an X account, which is, you guys can go on his X account on your own time. It's an interesting place, to say the least, and it belongs in the likes of OnlyFans for sure. So basically, he says here, though, admitting that personality conflicts happen, especially in creative environments like Hollywood, DeMayo also acknowledged that he has long known he's not everyone's cup of tea. So this here sounds like, he is walking back a little bit, the fact that like maybe people do have problems with him, claiming that he's not everyone's cup of tea. But my thing is, it's like, don't come after all your fellow employees, the people you worked with. Come after the corporate entity. Come after Marvel. If they've made you sign something that's illegal, then do that. And the other thing too is, in all of this, him and his lawyer just keep throwing around the fact that him being a gay black man and open about it is the actual problem. And if you know anything about current Disney and Marvel, that just sounds like a ridiculous accusation to throw at them, because of just how Marvel and Disney hold themselves lately as far as where their priorities lie, which seems to be that, and not actually creating anything interesting. It seems to be more of DEI focused as far as what they are interested in. So basically, this article is quite long, but what they get into is the fact that they break down some of his lawyer's complaints, and basically what it says is that the lawyer claims that there are only two possible explanations for why Marvel and Disney had both signed an NDA. That so obviously violated basic California law. And then, let's see, having to wade through all these ads here. Either incredulously, Marvel and Disney's hundreds of lawyers who advise over 25,000 employees all just happened to make a mistake, or Marvel knowingly and intentionally attempted to silence Beau so they could have total control as to why he was no longer at Marvel. And he had his credits removed from season 2 as well. So that comes into some of his complaints here, is that these credits were not supposed to be removed from him, and also that he was supposed to be getting bonuses and stuff still, I think, even after leaving. And he was mad because they didn't invite him to certain events and things, because the show won Emmys, and all of that is, I think, kind of ridiculous, because you're not working for them anymore. But the removing his credits, if they said they were supposed to, is a problem. And the other big thing is that California law states that basically that these types of NDAs can't be forced on people. So they could have broken California law, at least according to his lawyer. So that is a problem. But all of this, it is just continued drama. And it seems like, to me, from what I have seen, when you as a company surround yourself around all of this DEI stuff and you hire people based on checking off boxes, and when you bring them in, basically making it quite obvious that this has a lot to do with hiring. Now, granted, this guy was clearly skilled. He did a good job with this show, but in many cases, that is not the case, where they're hired over DEI reasons and then can't back up, what they've actually been hired for. But the thing is when you surround someone's hiring and employment and all of these things around checking off boxes, of course they are going to levy that against you if you happen to get rid of them. So this is not a surprise. I don't feel bad for Disney or Marvel. It's kind of ridiculous, but the thing is Beau, bro, like, why are you going to go on OnlyFans? Like, OnlyFans is the platform you're going to use to come after these guys. Like, that doesn't sound like a good move. It almost sounds like you're kind of solidifying their case a little bit, that you just don't really, like, have the wherewithal to handle yourself properly. Like, that's not the place you go to iron this stuff out. It's not on OnlyFans. Don't do that. That's ridiculous. So anyways, lots of drama, pretty ridiculous, but I had to talk about it because this dude he just keeps on, man. He's not letting it go. And so I'm interested to see what happens with X-Men97 season 2 and where they head with it, and if they keep leaning into his vision, and who knows. But I do recommend watching it if you liked the old show. This was quite solid. Now, on to the next little piece of news here. George R.R. Martin, my dude, just keeps on talking trash. So basically what he's come out and said is that it says that George R.R. Martin addresses House of the Dragon's issues, warning longer changes could be coming. And actually down here at the bottom of the article, he actually claims them to be larger, more toxic problems in further seasons. Now, House of the Dragon, if you did not know, is a spinoff of Game of Thrones. It's a prequel, and it seems to be mostly loved, but the season 2 kind of went out with a whimper. I watched it, finished the season finale, and it just didn't make sense why they ended it where they did. It was building up to battle, kept going, and then the battle doesn't happen. Now, the episode before the final episode, or maybe 2 before, was phenomenal. There are very good episodes in this season. It's still quite a good show. But the interesting thing about this article and what he's complaining about is kind of ridiculous. And it's basically that there's a big scene where it was in the first episode, and it was one of those attention-grabbing, graphic, typical Game of Thrones scenes that are over the top and very provocative, where some infants end up dying, or young children, and it was very disturbing. But they didn't show it, but still a whole bit of disturbing thing that happens. And basically there were supposed to be 3 kids involved instead of 2, and he's mad about it. But it sounds like it's not really that big of a deal, really, but he was complaining. But the interesting thing here about this is just that Martin ended this blog where he's kind of ranting about them removing this little component of this one child. It is possibly leading to larger and more toxic. Him using the word toxic is interesting. Changes coming to the show. Now, I would suspect that this is him covering his butt a little bit because of what happened with the previous show, and it seems like he's constantly just covering his butt. And if you don't know, he has not finished the actual book series and has been pretending to write the final book for like 100 years now. So, all of us are predicting that basically that the manuscript will be there and it'll be like written in his will to be released when he passes away, and the book's actually just probably been done forever. He just didn't want people to hate it while he's alive. But I digress. Anyways, I did find this interesting that he's complaining about such small changes with how many creative liberties were taken, especially further on in the original series. And this one just doesn't seem that important. And he does keep stating over and over that fans of the show that haven't read the books aren't really going to care about any of these changes and would never notice. And it's mostly connected to budget reasons that they're cutting some of this stuff. So it just seems like a reason for him to kind of get some press and complain a little bit, and the whole thing's a little odd to me. So let me know what you think down in the comments about the latest season of House of the Dragon. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know that it was as good as season 1, but I find this show to be a lot more convoluted and hard to follow than the first series itself. Now, the last little bit of news here is on the Twilight animated series. Yes, you heard me right. The Twilight animated series, because, if there's a franchise that people are just begging for more of, just really, really wanting more of, it's Twilight. Obviously, people need and want more Twilight, and we are getting an animated series for Twilight. And the icing on the cake here is, guys, that this is actually, believe it or not, this is from Edward. the Vampire Edwards perspective, because we needed his point of view of how emo this entire series is. And it doesn't really matter, we don't need it told from the female perspective anymore. We need it from Edwards. So why not? Netflix, let's go for it. Let's go ahead and give us this version of it. So it says Midnight Sun, an animated series adaptation by Stephanie Meyer's novel and the retelling of Twilight from Edward Cullen's perspective, is officially in development. So hey, why not? I mean, this at least will be a content content generator of sorts, if it's as cheesy and over the top and ridiculous as the movies were, because those things are so memeable at this point that it's ridiculous. So yeah, why not? All of you guys that were begging for more Twilight, here you go. Good news. You got yourself an animated series. But that has been your drama update for today. As always, visit criticalist.com, drop us some reviews. Why don't you go in and just do like a series of reviews about the Twilight movies, and your extreme love for the series. I want to see those. I want to see those reviews come in. So go ahead and drop those and let us know what you think about Beau DeMayo and his drama, because this is kind of just wild. And I wonder if some of this might cause Marvel and Disney to learn some lessons about their hiring practices. Who knows? And honestly, I hope, hey, get them, Beau. Go get them. Until tomorrow, take it easy.